As a business owner, you need to know at what point that you're making profit and you're making loss. Because sometimes you can just be selling and selling and we don't know whether we're making profit or we are making loss. It is really important to know. That is why we have the break-even point. Break-even point simply means when your total revenue is equal to your total costs. Your total revenue is everything you sold. While your total cost, which I already explained, the total cost in one of my videos, the total cost is the combination of your fixed costs and your variable costs. If you want more explanation, try and watch the video. But I will explain, a bit more here as well. Your fixed costs are those expenses that do not change. They don't vary regardless of your production. The number of output you decide to produce, they don't change. They remain the same. They are fixed. Just as the name implies, fixed costs. Example, we have your rent. If you rent a place for your business, the price will never change. Whether you decide to make 5,000 production or decide to make 500 or you decide to make 5 million production, the rent is fixed. Your insurance is fixed as well. Your tax is fixed as well. Those are fixed costs. For your variable costs, the variable cost is the costs that varies depending on your outputs. Example, let's assume you want to make a dress. I'll be using a fashion product here because I'm into fashion. You want to make a dress, you need to buy the fabrics. You need to buy maybe zip or you need buttons. So if you want to produce one dress, you're going to be needing just few yards, let's say 2 yards to make a dress. For the zips, you're going to need zip, you need one zip. But if you want to produce 10 dresses, that means you have to buy 10 zips. So that means the price would vary. Those are what? Those are variable costs. The people that will be making the production, maybe you pay them per hour. Those are direct labor. There's a labor costs. Those are variable costs. If they're going to make one dress, they might spend like 1 hour in producing a dress. You pay just for that 1 hour. If the person will be making 10 dresses, that means this person will be spending 10 hours, right? That means the cost will increase. Those are variable costs. Like I said, to get more explanation, to have in-depth explanation of these costs, try and watch the video. For your total revenue is your price, your selling price multiplied by the quantity. Let me give you an example of this break-even point. Like I said, the break-even point is the total revenue equals to the total costs. Let's assume you decide to buy a dress from China to resell, of course. You bought this dress at the rate of $20 per dress, just for one dress. And to ship it down, okay, you bought a dress, but you want to resell, definitely you will not be buying just one. You decided to buy 10 dresses. So $20 times 10, that'll be $200. And for the shipping, you're going to be incurring like, let's say $40 to ship it down to where you are. That means the total costs for those 10 dresses will be $240. Let's assume you now decided, after selling these dresses, you made $240. That is your break-even point. That means your total revenue is equal to your total costs. At this point, you'll be able to determine how to make profits and to avoid loss. You will know that if you should sell less than $240, that means you'll be making what? Loss. But if your total revenue is like $300, that means you've made a profit of $60. You'll be able to know at what point are you making profit or are you making loss? This is very important to every business owner to understand. You need to know whether you are making profits or you are making loss. And another thing I want you to know is total revenue is not the same thing as profits. That you are selling and selling doesn't mean you're making profits. You might be selling, like you said, you bought at 240 and you sold at 240 as well. Does that mean you're making profits? No. So total revenue does not equate profits. In this video, I'll be showing you some calculations on how you can, derive your break-even point yourself. I will try as much as possible not to use so many technical terms, because this video, I'm making it for people that are not technical inclined, business owners, that they want to understand the basics of the business. They want to understand what is really going on in their business. Because the end goal of every business is to make profits. Even if we started with, passion, we have passion for what we are doing. Yes, we have the mindset. The end goal is to make profits. Is to make a living. So how do we do this? I will explain all of this in this video so that you'll be able to know whether you're making profits or you're making loss. Let's go to the calculation aspects. Don't be scared. I will try as much as possible to simplify it very well. That our total revenue does not mean profit. If you buy something, it costs you to buy something for $240 and you're able to sell it for $240. Does that mean you've made profit? No, that does not mean profit. Our profit is total revenue minus the total costs. Our total revenue is the selling price multiplied by quantity. And our total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. You need to understand all of these elements so that way to help you to understand the break-even analysis. Profit is total revenue minus total cost. How much you sold minus what cost you to produce that product or to buy it in order to resell will give you your profit. You bought something for like $20, you shipped it for like $2. The total cost that you incurred in that will be $22. You were able to sell it for $30. So your total revenue will be $30 and your total cost will be $22. Your profit will be $8. Now, to get your total revenue is your price per unit multiplied by quantity. Unit price, let me write it here. Unit price multiplied by quantity will give you your total revenue. If you sold 5 dresses at $10, that will be what? $50. That means your total revenue will be $50. Now, for your total cost is fixed cost plus variable costs. Our fixed cost is always fixed, like I said. Our variable cost, it varies depending on the output that you produce or you bought to resell. It varies. Now, for the variable cost, I'll further break down this variable cost. The variable cost is always the units variable cost multiplied by quantity. Don't forget, you're going to be needing these formulas as we go on in the calculations. Now, for your break-even point now, the break-even point is total revenue equals to total costs. At this point, whatever you're buying is equals to what you're selling. You're not making profits and you're not making loss. That is your break-even point. And don't forget, this is the formula for our total revenue. And for our total cost, this is the formula for our total cost. We're going to be needing all of these formulas. It is very simple. Just know your break-even point is my total revenue equals to total cost. That means at the point that you're not making profits and you're not making loss. So at that point, you need to now understand what you need to do in order to make profits. And if you're making loss earlier on, you'll be able to know what you need to do in order to, to avoid making losses. Now, the formula for this break-even point, which I'll be denoting with BE, would be FC, which is fixed cost, over the selling price per unit. The selling price per unit minus the unit variable costs. Don't forget, the selling price in units minus the unit variable costs. Now, let's give an example. Let's say, let me write it here. Let's say our FC is $10,000. Our selling price per unit is $20. Our unit variable costs for each item you are producing, what cost are you incurring? For each item you're buying from China, maybe you bought a dress from China at $20. When you bought 10 of those dresses and you did shipping for the 10 dresses, you shipped for like $40. What will be the unit cost? The unit cost for the shipping will be what? The unit shipping cost will be the $40 for the shipping divided by the total units that you're buying. How many are you buying? You're buying 5. So 40 divided by 5 will give us 8. That means you're incurring $8 per unit. That will be your unit variable cost. Let me explain again. Your unit variable cost is just that cost that you incur on just one product, on just one item. To get your break-even point, you need your unit variable costs, and you need your selling price per unit, and you need your fixed cost. So your unit variable cost here, let's assume is $10. So let's input that into this formula that we have here. Fixed cost is $10 over the selling price, $20, minus the unit variable cost, which is $10. Kindly subscribe to our Tenacity Zone with Bukola. So let's do the calculation here. It will now be $10 over $10. Remember, 20 minus 10 will give you $10. So this will now be 1,000 units. So our break-even point will now be 1,000 units. So that means we need to sell 1,000 units in order to get our break-even point. Let's input this. Remember, what is our break-even point? Is total revenue equals to total cost, right? Let's do that. And remember, our total revenue is what? Unit multiplied by quantity. What is our unit price? $20. Multiplied by quantity. We've gotten our quantity here, which is what? 1,000 units. Equals to, what's the total cost? Is fixed costs plus variable cost. What's our fixed cost here? Our fixed cost is $10 plus the variable cost. What's our variable cost? Remember, our variable cost is the unit variable cost multiplied by units. What is our unit variable cost? $10. And the unit we got is 1,000. Our break-even unit is 1,000. So let's solve this now. I'm going to be cleaning some things up here. So now let's solve this now. $20 times 1,000 units will give us $20,000. And this one, 10 times 1,000 will give us 10,000. It will now be $10,000 plus $10,000. Remember, our fixed cost is 10,000, which is what is here. Our variable cost is 10 times 1,000, which is the units, which is what we have here. It will now be 10,000. Now let's see. It will now be $20,000 equals to 10 plus 10 will give us $20,000. So now this $20,000 here is what is our total revenue, and this one on this side is our total cost. I remember we said our break-even point is when our total revenue is equal to total costs. So now this is our break-even point. When we sell, our break-even point is when we sell at $20 per unit, when we sell 1,000 units, when our fixed cost is $10,000 and our variable cost is what? $10,000. That is when we have our what? Break-even point. Now at this point now, you need to now decide, how do you make profits? How do you modify all of these elements in order to make profits? You need to be able to manipulate all of these elements, which is one of the reasons you need to understand your break-even point as a business owner. Because if you don't understand it, you will just be seeing yourself, like I said, total revenue does not equate profit. That you are selling and selling doesn't mean you are making profit. You need to understand just this simple mathematics, which is total revenue is equal to total cost. And to get your total revenue is what? Price times quantity. And to get your total cost is just simple fixed cost plus variable cost. If they equate each other, that means you what? You've reached your break-even point. Now, how do you now do your profits? How do you get profits? Now, you now need to decide which one do you need to remove, which one do you need to reduce, which one do you need to, increase. Now, from this point now, look at you now want to decide whether you want to increase your total revenue and reduce your total costs. And don't forget our total revenue. Let me clean this. We want to try and manipulate this, whether you want to like reduce your fixed costs, you want to reduce your variable costs, and your selling price, you want to increase your selling price. If you're able to increase your selling price, you're able to reduce your variable costs and reduce your fixed costs. That means your units will it will reduce. Let me show you the calculations. Still the same, our fixed cost is $10,000, right? Now, with this calculation, let me use the blue. Now, we want to manipulate. We want to increase, let's say, our units is still 1,000. Our fixed cost is still $10,000. But the only thing we want to do now, we want to try and see how we can make profits. Let's assume our selling price has now increased to what? $30. And our variable cost is still the same thing, which is what? $10. So let's do this calculation. So this one still remain the same, right? So with this now, let's assume we don't have this one here yet. So this one, we cancel this. So that means we'll be having 500 units. So that means if you should increase your price to $30, the total you need to sell will be just 500 units to break even. But if you're able to maintain, you have the capacity to sell this 1,000. Selling this 1,000 units is not a problem to you. You're able to sell this 1,000 units, sell at this price, then you'll be making profits. Let's see it in our calculation. Let's forget the formula for our profits is what? The total revenue minus the total costs. So now let's put this in here. We want to get the profit, right? We want to be able to see if we are making profit. If we maintain the same 1,000 units, we increase our price by 30. We still maintain this $10 for variable cost and $10,000 for fixed cost. Now, what will be our total revenue here? Our total revenue, the formula is what? P times Q. What is our selling price here? $30 times Q, which is 1,000. Right? Minus, what's our total cost? fixed cost plus variable cost. Our fixed cost is what? 10,000. Plus the variable cost is 10,000 as well. Remember, the variable cost is the unit price of variable cost is $10 times the quantity, which is 10,000. So this one also is 10,000. So our total cost is 20,000. Now profit 30 times 1,000 units will give us $30,000 minus 10 plus 10, which is our total cost, will give us $20,000. So our profit here now will now be $30,000 minus $20,000, which is our total revenue minus total cost, will now be what? $10,000. So that means just by increasing our selling price, by making our selling price $30 instead of $20, we were able to make profit of what? $10,000. And we can actually go as far as, after, increasing our profits, let's assume we're able to reduce our costs, our variable costs. Sometimes, as business owners, we need to look for places to buy cheaper, and we are not compromising quality. Let's assume these same dresses that you're buying from China for $20. You can actually get it the same quality at $15. That means your cost will reduce. Let's assume you're making production yourself. Let me use myself as an example. There was a time I was, trying to make a collection. The first time I wanted to produce that collection, when I bought the fabric, per meter, I bought them for $110 pesos, because I made the production in Mexico. So I bought the fabric for 110 pesos per meter. That was the first time I was trying to make the production of that collection. Then the second time, I made more research. I was able to get that same fabric, the same quality, for $70 per meter, 70 pesos per meter. So for that reason, I was able to have more profits. So if, as a business owner, you're able to reduce your variable costs, let me write out the whole equation for this. For your profits is total revenue, which is P times Q, price times quantity, minus this total cost is fixed cost plus variable costs. So as a business owner, you're able to increase your profits, reduce your variable cost. Your fixed cost, reduce your variable costs. Definitely, you will make profits. Your profit is certain. So this way, if the main thing is being able to understand the break-even point. At what point are you making, is your profit, is your total revenue equals your total cost, or you're just selling and selling? So if your total revenue, if you're able to know that, okay, my total revenue is equals to my total cost, which is the main thing, the main topic we are talking about today, which is the break-even point. Which is your total revenue, equals your total cost. If this can be equals to your total cost, you know that you've reached your break-even point. So from this point onward, you now start manipulating, the elements. Maybe it's going to be your price, it might be your costs, it might be your quantity. You don't want to sell too much in order to make profits. You don't want to do too much, stress. Now look at your price. Is your price competitive enough? Look at your competitors, or Can you increase the price in order to make more profits? That is the essence. That is why you need to understand your break-even point. After this, you now need to understand how to calculate your pricing strategy. How do you get your price? That one I'll be explaining in the next video. The pricing strategies, which is one thing I'll be explaining in another video. You now know your break-even point. Now, how do you do your pricing? How do you, price your products? There's something called break-even pricing as well, which I will explain. There are different kind of strategies for your pricing to get the right price. So you're not underselling, you're not undervaluing your products, and you're not overvaluing it. You're competitive, your price is good enough. It's going to be from the pricing strategy, which is going to be from another video. You're welcome back from the calculations, and I hope it was not so confusing. That is, it's a basics that we need to understand as a business owner. You need to know whether you're making profit, whether you're making loss. The break-even point is really important. Like I said earlier, and from the calculations as well, the break-even point is just simply, that means your revenue can cover your costs. What you're selling is, what you bought, the cost at which you bought is the same amount, the same thing you're able to sell. You're not making profit and you're not making loss. So now from this, from that stage, you'll be able to now determine what you need to do in order to make profits. From the calculations, is either you want to increase your profits or you want to reduce your costs in order to reduce the quantity to sell, or you want to still maintain this. You have the capacity to sell this quantity, right? Now, you will now increase your price, your selling price. You reduce your variable cost, you reduce your fixed cost as well. Definitely you make profits. I hope this has helped you in any way. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. In the next video, I'll be explaining the pricing strategies. How do you arrive at your price? How do you know the right price to sell? How do you know whether you're not underselling, you're not undervaluing your products, or you're not overvaluing your products? See you in the next video. Kindly subscribe to our Tenacity Zone with Bukola.